If you don't know, now you know.
It's clear to see that I'm ahead of my time. I caught the chromed out, hard top career with a shine. I got some time, they ain't nothing, I get better with time.
My mother had dementia, and we had no idea. It was just, you know, the questions were coming over and over and over again, and it just got to be obnoxious. And none of us picked up on, hey, she may have Alzheimer's or dementia. It just wasn't what we thought about. It was just like, come on, Mom.
When you show up on the scene with the 2 guns drew on you and your friend and play a little 2-on-2. If you do half of what I do.
This is women's pro football. This is NFL football, except that we're women. This is the real deal. The men put in the time, and we put in the time as well. In fact, we put in more time, because we have to hold down a 9-to-5 job and fit football into our life.
Like a game of chess, you want to be better, bring your best. Cause we be standing in your front yard yelling, bring them out, bring them out. All my hot girls yelling, bring them out, bring them out. All the dope boys yelling, bring them out, bring them out. Front the back gate yelling, bring them out, bring them out. All the front yard yelling, bring them out, bring them out. All my hot girls yelling, bring them out, bring them out. All the dope boys yelling, bring them out, bring them out. Front the back gate yelling, bring them out, bring them out. Oh!
Right here, this is my soror. She's my sister. She's my friend.
Line sisters,
right on. Incorporated. We're line sisters. I'm the tray. She is el cinco. She's the pad. I'm the tray. And so we get into good trouble all the time together. Bring 'em out.
You just heard the sound of the king of the South.
ColletteVSmith. You are an American story. And when I say an American dream come true, that is you. And sometimes when we're walking in our skin, we don't realize that what you've been able to accomplish with God, because I know God is the head of your life, based on what my wife said, is that you're a believer.
Yeah.
God did that through you.
Yeah. He uses me. And I realized that late in life. As a little girl, I was skeptic. And I grew up in a Catholic house, go to church. This is back in New York, right? So you go to church every Sunday with your mom. Of course, you don't want to go to church as a kid. And then when I moved to Alabama when I was a junior in high school. And the church in Alabama, different than church in New York. And that was a whole different thing, but I was questioning everything, and it wasn't until many years later that I realized I was like, oh my gosh, he's in control of everything. And so, giving myself to the Lord. I mean, I'm God's servant. However, I like to say I'm his servant warrior, because he's put me in situations where he knows I'm going to fight. It's not just fighting for me. There's nothing wrong with fighting for yourself. But I fight for other people. So I'm God's servant warrior.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Being the first African-American woman to be an NFL coach, what was that like when they said yes to you? Like, did you know you was going out for this role, or did it just happen this way? What can you walk us through that part?
That was not even in my psyche. That wasn't even something buried deep inside. It was something that I never imagined, ever. So I kind of was, I played football. I had retired. I was coaching my women.
Professional football.
Professional. Full tackle, not that lingerie stuff.
Right.
I'm talking real football, suit up, head to toe.
Right.
And so I had started doing the marketing, the PR promotions and events for my women's pro football team. And I took it seriously. Or am I going to start? Don't start and I'm going to be none. Like, you got to go all in.
That's right.
And so I remember I started calling the New York Jets offices. I mean, I had 2 options, the Giants or the Jets, but we grew up in a Jets household. All that being said, I was calling the offices to get access to the Jets. And I got somebody on the phone at some point, and he said, you should come out to a practice. And I was really busy. At that time, I was doing real estate full-time. That was my career.
Wow.
You know, women in pro football, in American pro football, we don't get paid like that. It's period. We have to actually pay to play. So you had to keep a 9-to-5 job. So I was a real estate broker, and I specialized in new development. So I didn't want one condo to sell. I wanted the whole building, and then I want the whole block, right? So that's kind of how I roll.
I love it.
And I said I was busy, so I was coaching, doing the marketing, all the PR, but I had to get out there. And I said to myself, Collette, you're not busy. You're not too busy to go do this, because you can learn from them to be a better coach for your women. So I went out there with the mindset of them. And what ended up happening was a job opened up for me.
Wow.
And so when we get back to the job for me, I also realized that job wasn't just for me. It was for every little Black girl.
Wow.
So when I tell you God he's writing, he wrote the book already.
Yeah, to me, I take it as this was your path. And I'm a firm believer that I know the American way is to go get it, right? But based on what you're telling me, it wasn't something that was even in your thought.
No, never.
Like, you didn't know to go get it.
Never.
You was just doing you, and God knocked on you and said, Collette.
Yeah.
When did you find out, or when did it dawn on you that you were the first woman, African-American woman, to be a coach on an NFL team?
I never thought about it, to be quite honest. I knew I was the first woman in New York Jets franchise history, but I never thought about it as being the first Black woman, the first African-American female coach in the history of the National Football League. Billie Jean King was the one that told me about it. Billie Jean King, I mean, of all people, really? So there was a 45th anniversary of Title IX event going on in Manhattan. Title IX is a law that was enacted in 1972, I believe, 71 or 72, that says that all girls, females, have the right to play on any sport governed by the government or public schools, and you have to let us play. And so it was their 45th anniversary. So I went to this event, and I remember I was putting on my high heels, I had my hair pinned up, makeup on, my little dress. And before I left my apartment, I grabbed my football helmet. Well, I don't know why I did. I mean, it had to be him. And so I grabbed my helmet, and I got on the subway. And I'm on the subway, and people were asking me, oh, your son plays football? Or,
They have no clue.
and I'm like, nope, don't have any kids. And they're like, well, this is my helmet. I wear this helmet on the field, right? So of course, when I get to the event, everybody's having a cocktail in their hand, but I'm holding his helmet. So Billie Jean King is in front of us, step and repeat, taking photographs with people. And she looks through this crowd. So I see Billie Jean King first, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Billie Jean King there. Holy cow. I'm like, I have to get a photograph with her. But I don't like asking for pictures, and I don't like taking pictures, to be quite honest. So, but I'm like, my dad would kill me if I don't get a photograph of Billie Jean King. So all of a sudden, she sees me across the room, and she's like, oh my God, you're the coach, the NFL coach. And I'm like, why am I looking behind me? Because I am the coach, you know? So I walked over to her, and, and she immediately grabbed my helmet. I mean, she grabbed it out of my hand, and she's like, this is heavy, and she's talking about the football, and I'm thinking, Billie Jean King is holding my football helmet. Oh my God. That I played in. And then as we start talking, she goes, wow, so do you have an agent or a publicist? Because, this is a big deal. And I was like, no. And she looked at me, she said, Collette, you were the first Black woman to coach in NFL history. And I looked at her like, what? And she goes, you didn't know that? And I was like, apparently not, but so I chewed on that all the way home after the event. So that's how I've discovered it.
Wow.
And I did the math, I did the homework, and I was like, holy cow, I am the first Black woman to coach in the NFL.
Wow. So you was so humble about just happy to have a job, happy to be working in the NFL, happy to be around football, which you love still to this day.
Yeah.
And it just did not come to your mind. It was just like, I'm being me.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I was the first Jets female coach, right?
Right.
But that's the first,
Separation,
you know, but
that's what I
on
said.
national level,
Right.
right? So yeah, for me it was wow, this great opportunity has presented itself, and I'm gonna take it. I mean, because I had jobs. I was doing real estate. I was coaching my women's team. I was doing the marketing. I had too many jobs, but this was a job that I had to take.
But my understanding, you do a lot of firsts in your life. What does that feel like, that God has chose you to be one that does the first before others, and you happen to be this woman
Yeah.
and not just a male, you know, and you're a Black woman living in America. What does that feel like?
Crazy time that we're living in. You know, I would say for me, it's just been organic. Like it's when you unlock your little girl self. When you're a kid, before the world kills your dreams, before the world starts showing you bad things, you're just free, right? You're free mentally. You're free. So I was just doing things that I liked, and my like was different from my girlfriends. They didn't want to play football. They were trying to hopscotch or whatever else. I was like, I'm getting out there on the field with the boys, who happen to be boys. It wasn't about the boys play. In my brain, it was just they happen to be boys, and I'm getting out there with them. So there was, you know, I don't think I've never set out to say I'm going to go be the first.
of this.
I just
first
go
back.
do things that are important to me, and it turns out that it's the first thing.
That is so grand to me. Were you growing up as a youngster, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10, whatever, were you the one that was climbing the tree and
Yeah.
jumping out the tree
Oh
and
yeah, that was me.
doing all of
That was
this,
definitely me.
but always a girl? and-
But still, like, yeah, I mean, my mom, who was very ladylike, just, I mean, so legs crossed all the time,
Oh, really?
straight, chin up, makeup on, pantyhose. That was my mom, and she used to say, "I bought all these dresses for you. You won't even wear them." I was corduroy jeans or blue jeans and sneakers, and they would find me in a tree. Literally, they'd find me in a tree.
Wow.
But then I remember my parents made me go to dance school, and I was mad.
Like jazz dance, tap, or what?
Ballet, jazz, interpretive. This a dance school. A dance school to me meant girly stuff, and I was like, I don't think so. But you know, when your dad comes in the bedroom, you getting your butt under,
Great, do something.
yeah. So I went to dance school as a ballet class, and of all classes, they put me in ballet. Are you kidding me? But I happened to love it. I loved
Oh,
it.
you did?
I loved it.
What did you love most about ballet?
I didn't know I could be that feminine. You know what I'm saying? Like it was new to me. Like chin up and back straight.
And what age is this around?
I was probably 8, 9,
Wow.
8, 9, 10 years in that age group.
Wow.
And I remember my parents had bought leotards for me to wear, black leotards, and you were supposed to cut the toe out and the heel out so you wouldn't slip on the wood floor. I wasn't cutting my parents' stuff they bought me. They just bought this, and I'm not. It's just
understanding.
Yeah, that was my mindset.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, they had us see how far we could do a split. So you had to run 3 times and then do a split. Well, I slid because I didn't cut my toe and my heel out. So I did a perfect split. Didn't feel good, but I remember just the applause of it. Like, very good, very good. And I was like, wow, this is torture. But I became a great dancer with ballet. And I remember that following weekend, my dad came in the room thinking that he has a problem to get me up out of bed again. And he knocked on the door because I got to play the part. I don't want to go, you know. And when he came in the room, he was, come on, let's go. I'm not fighting with you this morning. And I was like, okay, sure, fine. But I wanted to go.
Oh.
So my thing is, it was exposure. Like kids think we know something. We don't know anything as children.
No.
And so for me, it was the exposure. Thank God my parents put me in this dance school, else I wouldn't have been talking about that today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're in New York. You're growing up in the city life. Did they play sports in the street? Like I'm from Boston, and as I said, back
Okay,
in the
East
green
Coast.
room.
Yeah, yeah.
So we played sports in the street.
Right.
We threw the football, and we would have to get out of the way if
The
the car was coming.
Yeah, we'd have to stop, and so the car could go by. Then we would commence.
Yeah. What was that like? Is that where you maybe got the beginning years of your playing football?
Well, yeah, for sure. Playing in the street with the kids, but I think my love of football stemmed from my dad. Just wanting to be. I'm a dad's girl, dad's daughter, daddy's little girl. In my head, I don't know what he thinks, but so I love the aspect of being on the couch with him watching football.
That's awesome.
And so for me, it was like dad's watching. And I wanted to be wherever my dad was.
Mhm.
So when he was on the couch on Sundays watching football, I was right there with him.
Right. Wow.
And I could see his
so you
excitement.
learned a lot through watching television.
Yeah, and hearing my dad say that's out.
That's not a bad. That's a bad whatever.
Calls, a bad play, or he would say things, and I just started learning. And so then I wanted to get jiggy with it. So
Right.
I'd go outside, and my older brother would play football
Okay.
on the street,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
I knew I could outplay him.
Of course, we're gonna talk about your book, right?
Oh yeah.
We have to. That's to me one of the main reasons why you're here, and it tells a story on who you are really, and why you want to do a book, why you decided to do a book.
Mhm.
Um, what were some of the challenges being a woman football coach?
Um, me,
Oh, wow.
me, nervous. Like it was but different from any other position you held in at your job and in your career. You know, this was like, oh my God, I was worried about what everybody else was gonna think or treat me. And then I was like, I can't worry about these fools. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so I was the biggest challenge. I mean, I was excited, but then you had those moments of imposter syndrome, sneak in, creep in, and talking to my dad about it sometimes. He said, Colette, tell me whatever job or career you had where somebody didn't give you a problem at your job.
That part.
He's
That's
like,
the truth.
so he goes, you already have a blueprint
Right.
of that,
Ooh, that's good. That's
right?
good. That's good. That's good. That's good what he said to you.
Right? We all been through it. So, if somebody quits their job because this job has one guy doing them wrong or two people, when you go to that next place, you're going to have another person. They're always there.
Right.
So I had one guy. I had one guy that was a problem. I'd love to see him today. I would tell him to suit up. I learned a lot about myself and
Wow.
all that, but the players, one coach was an issue, right? And that was his MO from out the gate. Um, and I had to work directly underneath him.
Right.
But like the head coach, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, all the position coaches, amazing. It was fantastic. The players would come up to me. I think what was so beautiful for me with this was the players would come up to me and say, Coach,
Wow.
I got a daughter. I have two daughters.
Wow.
I never thought about playing football with them
Wow.
until now. And so, people get stuck in this whole gender situation where it shouldn't be about gender. It should be about who's a good fit for the job, right? But the doors that open in people's minds, just I was grateful for. I was
Mhm.
grateful to know that these guys don't play with their daughters.
I in my past I've trained a lot of actors.
Mm.
And what I try to tell them is something similar to what your dad told you
Mhm.
and what you found out for yourself is you have to live that part. You have to realize you're not here to see what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be in that world, because if you're in that world as an actor, whatever world they've created,
Mm-hmm.
if you're thinking about what the viewer's thinking, you can't never do your job.
You're missing a mark. You're supposed to put your whole self into something, you know. And look, I always say you can't be 100% given 80%. You'll never get to 100%, even given 99.9%. You have to be 100% invested and vested in what you're doing, and that means no distractions. No distractions.
Wow. And at what point did you figure that part out? That no distraction? Was this 8 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old?
This was 42 years old.
42 years old.
Yeah, it took me 42 years to love myself.
You know, that speaks volumes. Being 42 years old, some people say, "You mean you didn't figure it out yet? You're how old?"
I don't care about those people.
The world can confuse you, first off, you know.
The world confuses you.
Right.
What makes you confuse yourself?
That part. That's what I'm saying.
I got caught up in that for too many years. And, you know, and when I started playing professional full tackle football, I was 42 years old. I was a rookie at the age of 42 years old.
Wow.
And to be on a team and to get up and be healthy. And I had never seen the morning that much because I didn't love myself. So I was doing a lot of things that I shouldn't have been doing in this world. I didn't love myself.
Where do you think that part came from? Not loving yourself?
Mm. I was raped. I'm a several-time rape survivor. And I was raped by my favorite aunt's husband. And my whole family was like, "Oh, child, leave it alone."
The old school, the old timers way of handling it.
Right, sweep it under the rug, and I just didn't feel right about it. Something was not right, and so I figured if my own then to see your family hanging with your rapist, let's call it what it is, right? Now, so imagine you being a little black girl, just being a little girl, seeing your grandma in Alabama, and she's hugging you. You're probably snuffed out from a breast, squeezing you and loving on you, feeding you in the morning for breakfast and giving you a bath. That's love. And imagine it, the script flipping, where you see your own grandmother, your aunts and your uncles, cousins, sitting down with the rapist, talking, laughing.
Like it's normal, like nothing
normal.
happened.
And so what that did to me and my mental state was a lot of damage, a whole lot of damage. So eventually I figured if my own family doesn't love me and support me, I don't care. And nothing matters.
And when we say support, what kind of support was not there? Because obviously you saw what they were doing was not supportive, but what was it that they did not support you in?
Everything. Like they should not have had him in the house. You're not allowed in here anymore. That alert,
Trust it.
that alone would have made me feel like I got support. I got somebody that has my back. I felt like nobody had my back. And the very people that were supposed to have your back, that you knew they'd have your back, did not. That was damaging.
Yeah,
Right?
devastated.
It was devastating. And it took me to a whirlwind of several suicide attempts. I'm a several-time suicide survivor, you know, and then I ended up getting raped shortly thereafter. My uncle raped, you know, like by a stranger in the street. And I'm thinking, what is going on?
Why is there a dot on my head for him to think that this is okay to do this to me, man?
I was moving in such a way in this world, like I don't care. I don't care. So my guards are up to a degree today. So you see me walking in the street today, I'm looking every so often behind me in front
Which
of
is
me,
understandable.
you know, but I didn't do that back then, right? So then somebody jumps me, right? But
You know, like, I don't know if you know this, you probably do because you spend a lot of time with yourself, with self-reflection and so on and so forth. You are not, using the cliche term survivor, I think you're more than that. You were not supposed to be doing what you're doing today in regular terms of what goes on in life, right? But you're doing it. It's like staying power. Like there's a reason that you're still here. And I don't want to sound cliche as, oh, there's a reason why I'm still here. God got me. He got me. He ain't done with me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like there is something great inside you because the story that you're willing to tell, there's another woman or man
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that is unwilling to talk about it. And when you talk about it, you release it. You release it. And I go even deeper. And some people may think I'm crazy, but I say it this way. I grew up small frame.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I wasn't good with my hands because
I'm gonna try it.
they would just try me because they're bigger than me.
Yeah.
So guess what I grew up with? Put your hands, say something to me. What? We can do this.
A chip.
Yep. That's what they call it. But I didn't call it like, yo, try it and you're gonna find out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sometimes I can get that way now, but being my age now, I try my best not to just go in on them. I want to, but I think of I'm married, kids, house,
Right.
cars, blah, blah. I can lose more,
Yeah.
right? But what I say is those people that bully me, some of their negative spirit, which to me, I call, this is the part people will say you're crazy, is demons that were on them, jumped onto me, and I can't get them off of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've learned and am still learning how to get these demons of that wicked person that was on me. Do you sense that that could have been some of your challenge in the beginning, that their spirit or whatever was on them jumped
Yeah.
onto you? Here's the thing. I think of Denzel Washington's movie. I can't remember the name of the movie where the cat, if anything touched. Do y'all remember that movie that Denzel was on? And he would touch a person and the person would touch another person. Something like that.
Degrees of separation.
Right. Something like that. I can't remember it. But I looked at that movie and I'm like, that's kind of like, in some sense, that person that did that to me, like, I'm not gonna let that person bully me no more. So now I didn't become a bully, but I still had that tribe. You have find out.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, as a kid, I was never bullied. I wasn't bullied as a kid. In fact, I was the one that usually beat up kids that bullied people.
I love that.
That was me. I never got in trouble in school.
So you were like a bit of a vigilante. Like they come get, Collette, you won't believe it.
No, I would see it with my own eyes.
Oh, you
I would see it and I'd stop it immediately. And then I would be mad at the people around that didn't do anything. Like you sitting here, you saw what was going on, you didn't say anything.
that part.
So I was that kind of a person from little. So yeah, when you get to be an adult and you get mistreated, I'm like, hold up, I wasn't even mistreated as a kid like that. I'm sure not gonna let it happen as a grown woman. You're out of your mind.
Right, right, right.
But this love of self and attached itself back to me. For so many years, I had just been doing the bad, hanging out with the wrong people, late nights, going to work early in the morning, and just I didn't see daylight. Like I was asleep at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I was rolling over because I just went to bed an hour earlier. So to play football with a team, knowing that you were part of a team. I think that's probably what it was. Always looking for team.
Ah,
I needed a team. I didn't have a team anymore. Your team should have been your family.
right.
I didn't have that anymore. I had my mom and my dad. My parents have 2 other siblings. I don't we don't fraternize. You violate me. You violated me by speaking to them. So I'm good. I'm good on this. I don't need a replay. So team was very important to me. So when getting on this football team, making the cut as a 42-year-old woman was good enough for me, but I had something to prove to myself. And so being surrounded with women, we would cry together if we lost a game or if somebody got hurt. We would laugh together when we won, or we'd cheer people on when somebody improved, in their position on the field. It was great. I was in search of sisterhood, team.
So if you had a chance to talk to a woman or man that had these awful things happen to them, how how would you tell them to help to pull themselves? What words can you use or what can you say to help them pull away from what's keeping them to stay asleep to 3 p.m. in the afternoon or 5, not seeing the day? What can you say to them?
Man, there's probably never enough time in the world to say that. But the first thing that probably is just very cliche, that it isn't your fault, right? Like that's something that I probably don't even like hearing because I'm in a situation. Okay, we've identified that, but it's more of love yourself. Like love yourself. The best way to get somebody back is to win and to keep winning. All my haters, anyone that ever hurt me, you're gonna see me winning. And it's in hopes that they will change their mindset as well. I can't change the past, but we sure can change our present and our future. I have a thing that I like to say, making tomorrow better today.
Mm,
Making tomorrow better
I
today.
love it.
And
And I
so
get it.
you know what I mean? It gives me goosebumps every time I say that because we're in a bad position right now. Well, I may not be in good spirits today. What am I gonna do to make myself in good spirits for tomorrow?
Yeah.
I might take a bubble bath. I might not answer my phone all day. I might turn off from the world and pray and self-reflect and then wake up fresh for tomorrow. And the same thing applies to kids. When you think of kids, like when I visit a lot of schools for my organization, my company, BelieveNYou Incorporated, and I ask the kids.
The N is in.
The N is an N, right?
Right.
Believe in you. And the kids are like, I'm like, who in here gets a good grade and loves to share it with their parents?
That's right.
And then I'm like, so when you get a bad grade, are you rushing home to show mom? They're like, no. I'm like, well, how do we change that?
Right. Right.
Right? Prepare before
Right.
the exam.
Right.
Don't get into class. You knew that exam was coming.
Okay, right. We all knew it. We all knew it rather.
Yeah, don't cry over here to me. You could have been studying. Right? So it's always making tomorrow better today. So and it's just really for this woman who's ever felt defeated, to let her know that broken crayons still color.
You know, your story is amazing, and you know, even getting you here to Atlanta from New York, you got here. The way I feel about it is if you're called, you're called. All hell breaks out,
Hmm.
always,
Yeah.
especially when you have a call on your life. It always happens. And this is why we do the show. If you don't know, now
Now
you
you
know.
know.
Is because what Collette deals with, they don't know.
Yeah.
They just know you showed up. They don't know what happened an hour before you got on field or an hour before you got here. They don't know how long it took you to write this book. They don't know the challenge. They just know the book is out.
Yeah. Oh man.
And that's why you showing up today is a prime example of what God has on your life. Why you're here. It helps other people, but it also keeps you moving.
Oh yeah. I can't be still. I have things I need to do. I have things that I need to showcase to help empower somebody else. I'm not doing that when I'm home turned off. I gotta be turned on. Turn his TV on. Turn his TV on. Turn it on.
That's right.
I need to turn me on. Right. And my dad will tell you if you ever meet my father, I don't do anything unless I'm. What's your dad's name? Wendell.
Wendell
Yeah.
Smith.
Smith.
Wendell Smith.
He'll tell you I don't do anything unless I'm passionate about it. If you ask me to do something, I'm like, I really don't like that. So I'm not doing it. If we going
That's good.
all in, well, I'm not going to do anything at all.
And that's where you got that from your dad?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He would tell me it's the small things, the little things he would say to me as a kid. You're just like, here we go with the lip service again. But as you got older, as I got older, it made sense. And I like that he would show by example, physically what he would do. I remember him telling me a long time ago, your word is your bond. That is all you have. That is your word.
That doesn't even, like, and I'm not even talking about millennials or generation, whatever. I think in our society, American society, word is bond. People will switch up on you. I go by what you go by. If I said I'm going to be there, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Even if I go through the whole motion and never work with you again, if it's business, or if I never come out again for you, if it's personal.
Yeah.
If I say I'm going to do something,
You got to do. You have to
got to do it. I just have to do it.
I mean, sometimes things can happen.
Right.
If something does happen, let them know.
Word is your bond. That's what that is.
And so for me, I was raised like that. As a little black girl in New York, when your father tells you the stuff that he went through as a little black boy in New York, you learn about what your mama went through in Mobile, Alabama. How dare me not know and work to keep my word being my bond? How dare me? There's nothing I wouldn't do to make my parents proud, to make my black community proud, to build other leaders, to be that great legacy for somebody else. Because you never know who can learn or get something positive from whatever it is you're experiencing, verbally, physically, and so it is my duty to be the best version of that I can be, the best version of myself.
How do you find out, or how do you deal with saying to someone in your professional business, "Nah, that's not for me. I'll pass on this." How do you come to that understanding of what it is you need to be doing, or something somebody wants you to be doing? Like, you took the call with us, right? But I'm sure
There has,
yeah, you're a Delta.
you're like
So
my sorority sisters.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That helps.
Right, that helps. But also, you're a businesswoman.
Yeah.
You get all these calls and you have to figure it out. How do you figure it out?
I can tell this quick if you full of crap or not. I size you up real quick. I ain't got time for that. You're not aligned with my spirit and my mission to empower and help and bring hope to other people. I can tell real quick. It's just something I can feel, you know. And then even also for me, my dad always says like you root for the little guy, right? So everything can't always be I'm doing HBO Real Sports with Brian Gumbel or BET documentary or whatever it may be. There are other people that are serious about their business, and how dare me look at them like you're not big enough yet for me to like. Does that make sense?
No, I
Like
understand it.
everybody has to start somewhere, right? And so if you align with me like you guys did, you guys align with me in my spirit, in a wholeness about you, a positive wholeness, right? So I move by passion. And I move by just being righteous. Yeah.
That's good because in this day and age, with social media being a part of it, my thought of social media, sometimes like these social media influencers, they may have, I'll just throw a number, they might have 25 million people following them,
Mm-hmm.
but their life is all mixed up in it. They're not making money. And then that time comes where they have to reach out to somebody like you that knows how to help them, right? My challenge for them in this world of social media
Mm.
is your word must be your bond, and you must open up to the little guy.
Yeah.
Um, how do you determine I'm going to go on this social media platform? I understand you said the spirit, but if it's someone that is well known,
Mm-hmm.
or let's say it's Fox Sports or whatever it is, how do you say to yourself, I'm not going to do that? And if it's connected to money, connected
Oh,
to
I'll talk
power,
somebody down in a heartbeat. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. I really don't. Uh, you ain't the boss of me. Like so, right? So for me, I've been asked by several groups that I would never affiliate with, never, and they should know better. And the zeros on the number they're pushing to me to come and speak looks real good. I'm not coming.
not all money's good money.
Not all money is good money, and it's a hard no for me. In fact, I took great enjoyment telling some organizations, "Nope, not happening." Put me on speaker too. Nope, right? But you got to have some integrity. You got to know who you are. You got to have morals. You got to have good ethics. You got to know who you are. You won't see me in certain areas, in certain rooms. You won't. You that will no, not a chance. Does it hurt? Is a dent in your financials? Of course. But I gotta get up and I have to look in the mirror every morning, knowing that I'm God's servant warrior. And for me to look at it and then look, even outside of God, I gotta be happy with me. I have to. So
I love the way you said that because you're putting it in a human understanding. Like, yes, we're believers, but everybody don't believe in God, right? So that means you have to be able to speak to them on this podcast. Like let's just say sometimes I say to people, let's just take God out of it,
mm,
which really I never take God out of it. Woo 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 woo. Because that brings it back to whatever their reality is. Oh, I'm not gonna listen to Collette. She's talking about God again. Instead of them saying that, they have to say, no, she's saying, yo, I have to be happy.
right.
Let's keep it real.
You know what? The more real you are with yourself, so like there were years that I on purpose would not speak about God. And you know why I did that sometimes?
I'm listening.
Because I would say, oh, they're gonna say they go to that church lady again, or we talking about God in scripture or whatever. And I didn't want to be pegged as that. Because I may have said that or thought about that with somebody else. Then it was one day I was like, no, this is relevant to what I feel right now and in this situation. So I'm talking about God. But it was also, I don't care what anybody else has to say about me. When you get down to that, that is the core. You find your true self and be true to your true self, and then you speak about whatever you want if you believe it. Um, look, life wasn't a bowl of peaches for me, right? It wasn't. It was real difficult. But I tell you, when you get up from it and look at it from another lens, meaning your life, I keep journals. And I'll write some, and by the way, I hate to write, but I'll write stuff down quickly, however I'm feeling one day. And then I remember finding some like these journals years later and reading them. And I was like, you went through that? Oh my God, you were in a bad place.
Wow.
And then it almost makes me upset that I was in a bad place like that, to think about taking my own life. Literally organizing things so that when I am not here, people will be able to gain from whatever I have. And reading that makes me go, wow.
Wow.
So, I dedicate my life today to my little girl self. And I apologize to her.
That's great.
I apologize to her for not being a protector of her.
Right.
But I learned late, but I got it.
We'll be right back with Coach Collette. While you're waiting, discover the official If You Don't Know, Now You Know collection. Created by podcast host CLos. From premium apparel to our signature mugs, every purchase helps us continue sharing powerful conversations that inform, inspire, and impact lives. Visit our online store today and wear the movement. If you don't know, now you know.
When you are called on the level you're called, this is what happens. The good part about you is that you're grounded. What I'm saying is, these voices of the enemy that come in and say this stuff, that's typical. You know why? Because you're the one that God is using for these mighty things. He gon' say something to you. Why else would he not? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he?
I'm an old guy and says that you got
This power. And I know we all have our gifts. I get that. But when God is called you to a higher calling of a certain thing, this is what they do. I'm talking about spiritually speaking. This is what happens. The thing is, because of your groundedness, you shaking them. You shaking them.
shaking them,
And even if you have a bad day, that's okay. Because guess what? Everybody on God's green earth has a bad day, has a bad week, has a bad month.
But the grass is greener where you water it. That part, okay? Your grass, cool. That's not my grass. The grass is greener where I water it. Same applies for you. So it's about, to me, being the change. You have to be the change. You have to be. And I get into the mode sometimes of, oh, woe is me. Oh,
We all do.
here we go again, right? Here we go again. What's the problem now? What else do you want me to learn or know or see? Haven't you shown me some stuff enough? And his answer is no, not yet. You still have some more learning to do. As my daddy would say, you could never do too much homework. You could never learn too much. Right?
Always something to learn.
Always something to learn. And quite honestly, the only way out is fear. The only way out is through. So when you think about how you're scared of something, and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I don't want to go over there. You don't want to, but you do it anyway, you feel like a champion. I mean, so like we can set the stage in our brain about that over there, whatever that over there may be. You built it up and you're like, nope, not doing that. I guarantee you'll do it again if you actually go through it. So the only way out is through. Anything that I'm scared of, like even writing my book, I was terrified to do that. I don't know this lane. It's not my lane.
Right.
And that book took me 3 years to make. And But I did it. Because I said, you know what, Collette? Let's go. It's game time. The only way out is through. And it gave me a lot of obstacles.
Right.
I'm not going to front. It's still giving me obstacles.
This book right here, wow, Colette's Courage.
Yeah.
This is your passion, baby, here?
It's my little baby passion, yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that this passion would bring some challenges? Did you know it would bring some pain? But did you know that this book will change people's lives?
For the better, yes, I knew that for sure.
These young people.
I knew that for sure. I definitely knew that part. I knew it would change young people's lives for the better. Absolutely, I knew that. I knew it would be a little challenging. I didn't think it would be this challenging, monetarily, and then time commitments, and I didn't think about all that. And then there's so much learning.
I mean, all of this is amazing. The artwork.
Oh, my illustrator is beast. Cameron Wilson. He's beast mode. Yeah, Cameron Wilson.
Yeah. Sometimes when you do these projects, it's kind of like, man, I wanted to do this, but I didn't know it was going to be this.
Yeah, I thought I got bit off too much more than I could chew. That's what I felt like, and I'm still learning. I'm learning how to, to market it properly, to get it in everybody's hands where it should be. Children's hands. It's very
Schools.
Oh yeah, definitely. I already work in school systems right now across the globe, so it's been
So
something.
3 years
Yeah.
of getting this book together. Do you think it'll be someday maybe a cartoon, or
I'm working on it already.
you are? Why do you believe that?
Because it's so much life in there. There's so much more. That book could have been real big. There's so much more that I could have, explained about. It needs to be. So when I think about this book and my two little best friends, those are my real best friends when I was a little girl.
Wow.
And that was my real dog, Bucky. I had a pit bull back in the day, and he was our family dog. And I learned humanity with the dog. Like dogs got to eat, got to be taken care of, got to give your dog a bath,
Walk.
take him out for if it's in the rain or the snow. So you learn things and so there's so much more. There's gonna be so much more to this book. This is the first installment of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Colette's Courage.
Oh,
I'm gonna
wow.
have a Collette series. So the second book that's coming out will be me playing pro football for my women's pro football team.
I love it.
The third book, and all the challenges that were involved in that, being injured, being the old chick on the team, where I took time for longer to heal, your back hurt. As soon as you felt a little bit better, you had to go back to practice, right? So that would be the second book.
So it's like working hurt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we had practice 3 days a week in my football team. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. So you had practice on Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, when you got to bed to go to work, you're like, "Ooh, what is happening?" And then when you're older, you don't recover so quickly, right?
Right.
These young kids recover a little quicker. And as soon as you start feeling better, practice on Thursday. I'm like, I'm just feeling back to myself. Now you're gonna go mess yourself up again, right? It was a lot that went into it. The time and being sleepy because you held down a job and you had football practice. You didn't get home till midnight. You had to be up early in the morning. So that's book number 2. And then book number 3 will be about me coaching in the NFL. And then, of course, that Collette series in my brain will not stop.
Oh, I love it.
Now we're going to do stuff about another book about, taking care of people, being kind to everybody, how that is contagious to be kind. It's going to be a whole bunch of things. Animal care, people with dementia, it's all kinds of things.
Where do people pick your book up at?
So they can pick up the book on Amazon. So on Amazon at Barnes and Nobles. So all you got to do is
Most online.
online. So they can put in the search box in Amazon or on Barnes and Nobles, Colette's Courage, or they could type my whole name in there, ColletteVSmith, in there and find the book. Right now I'm working to get this book in 2 bookstores that I know of. But there's a Black-owned bookstore called Mahogany Books in DC. They've already said that we want your book in our store.
That's awesome.
There's another one in New Orleans, Baldwin and Company, Black-owned. Once again, we're talking Black-owned, small business. But they've already said they want my book in their store. And I've only started scratching the surface about where this book is going to be.
When we do this stuff, it's like, Lord, if I had known I'd be dealing with all that is, I probably wouldn't have did it.
Yeah.
But this is what happens, right? This is exactly
It happens. Nothing in life is easy, right? Like nothing has been easy for me. I probably still would have done it, knowing all the hardship that I would be faced with. I would have done it smarter though, right?
But that's the growth. Right?
That's growth. So like in the world of football, you got L's and W's, right?
Okay.
Losses and wins, or wins at W's and L's. My L's aren't losses, they're lessons. So remember, I just said I had a few more books coming out. I bet you I'm better equipped to do those next 2
That
books.
part.
So what are we already doing? We're already making tomorrow better today.
Right. What you said
Right.
earlier.
Yeah. So it's game time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love the color of the book. I love the guys playing street football.
Yeah.
I love the dog as represented.
My dog.
You know, the chocolate brown girl, the lighter skin. I see it. I see it, and I see the neighborhood. Is this neighborhood similar to where you grew up?
Yeah, it is.
This is similar to your street.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the cars. I love it all.
Yeah, because I was very specific about him saying, putting the cars in the street. Because as a, come on, somebody from New York, we don't have access to football fields. So for me, it was like, we played in the street. Yeah, I tried to keep it as close to as realistic and real throughout this entire book.
Mhm. So you're working with young people, or this is gonna go to young people, or anybody really, right?
Yeah, anybody.
How do the struggles that you've been through of being raped, of the assailant not being dealt with,
Right.
properly dealt with, family not being there for you, um, how do you find forgiveness in all of that?
Yeah. That's a word. That's a whole word that I don't use as often as I probably should. I have said out loud to myself, I forgive them. I don't mean it. I really don't. I'm not there yet. I'm a work in progress.
What I love about what you just said is that you're being honest to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it would sound great. Oh, I forgive everybody, but really, sometimes it's a process, right? It took you 42 years to love on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest that you did not love yourself prior to that.
Yeah.
My hope is, and we all have to deal with forgiveness and stuff. That is something that so many people on this earth, if they could forgive certain things, it would be better for everybody.
I'm still struggling with it. I'm struggling, meaning, would it really be better for everybody? Because and one side of me is like, oh, so just submit. No, you need to know what you did was wrong.
Right.
I'm not submitting to you.
Well, the forgiveness is
then-
not for
Right.
him.
It's for yourself. It's for you.
It's for you.
Right. So
Because-
I battle that.
Yeah. Well, I think we all do at times, depending on what what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
I heard one minister say he interviewed a guy that forgave the guy that killed his son and that he brought him into his family. Do you hear what I said?
I did.
The guy that killed his son, he brought that guy into his family. For me, that kind of it blew my mind.
It should.
But I do know forgiveness it's not really about them more than it is about.
Yeah, I've heard that. I know the deal on that, but that's not where I'm at all the time. Right? I just got to keep it real. So I am still angry. I'm still angry.
No, I understand it.
And I'm like, how dare you? And it's I think it's more so like I'm not even as angry at my rapist as much as I am with my blood family. So it's for me, it's like being abused all over again. Every time I see them with him or I'm excluded from things or, don't come down here. Look, because I'm a New Yorker. Don't come down here, down south, and cause no problems. I used to hear that all the time. Don't come down here and start anything. And I'm like, what? So when you think about it, about what they put me through, I mean, I dated men that were not good men that I otherwise would not have dated. I made decisions in my life that were bad, that I probably would not have made because of the situation. You guys have changed the trajectory of my entire life. It's not easy to bounce back from that.
No,
right? And to try to be as positive as you can. Like I went to Tuskegee. So you said something about the colors of that book, the colors of the book. Those are Tuskegee colors. T-U, eh? Let's start there. T-U. But that's my, crimson and gold, the crimson and yellow for Tuskegee. I went to college to be a doctor of veterinary medicine. Did that happen? No. That was my dream. That was my dream as a child. That dream was stolen from me when I got raped by my uncle my freshman year in college. Everything shifted for me. Right? But
and I'm not an expert, not at all. I find that in some families, not all, the shame or the lack of being there for you, and I don't know if this is your family, it's happened in the family, so they don't know how to deal with it. So they hush. So they say, just fall in line because it happened to me and you don't hear me talking about it.
yeah,
And I'm like,
we got to break the cycle. So that what you're talking about is systematic pain, right?
yeah,
At some point, we got to break the cycle.
when we need to speak about
I
it.
call it breaking the chains. Back when when our ancestors were slaves, we had metal chains on us. Today, there are mental chains. And we got to break those mental chains. So by all means, by any means necessary, I'm going to be here to stand up for the next generation. I got your back, right? And that's how I feel. And maybe I feel that way because no one had my back. So whatever the reason is, let's go.
Right. I love that. I love that. Because that's really who I am. I have a friend, a very close friend back home in Boston. He said, CLos, I admire you that you're able to be around people that you knew when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go into business and as we rise, some of the old ones that knew us from back in the day, you don't see the faces.
Yeah.
I look for them. I actually go out and look for them because I'm the same person that I was. They've changed. I'm the same person.
Now, do you really think that they've changed? Maybe they're the same person too.
No, they're different. They're definitely different because of what they're doing and how they're
How they're moving.
right. So the gentleman that I'm talking about, he's the same. I'm the same. You know, we see each other. And then when I go see those of old, you know, when I was in junior high school, many of them, things have happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're standoffish. And after a while, they're like, oh, yeah, he's cool. Yeah, man. You know, because what I do is I bring them back to that moment.
Yeah.
Of when we told the jokes, when we went to the store, when I was doing this and he was doing that, you know, whatever it was. And that's what I sense from you is that being genuine matters. Being you matters. And why being your business now an author,
Mm-hmm.
why change? Because you're the connector. You're the one to connect everyone maybe in this neighborhood. How are they doing? What are they doing? Like Collette, yeah, Collette. You know, so many people, celebrity people like yourself, they don't go to their old neighborhood no more. They don't go back to the community and give back because they've removed themselves.
You know, there's a thing with growth. Like I don't necessarily, there's only one person from my neighborhood that I still am in contact with, one. But most of them I would have nothing for today. Like, I mean, not that I would be rude to them or not help them if they needed help. What I mean is some of them are in prison or didn't go to college or their mindset was very different than what than how my parents raised me. So, you know, we grew up in an apartment complex. You know, I don't know the kids ever. I was the only one, as far as I knew, that talked about college.
Wow.
You know,
Oh, wow.
You know, the world, especially this administration, doesn't want us to go to college,
Yeah.
be educated, right?
Right. That's right.
But my parents reinforced that in me over and over again. And so the people that I grew up with, they weren't into that. They were like going to get a job. They were going to be a mechanic. They were going to, you know, and that was them. So at some point you outgrow people, right?
Yep.
And it's not to say anyone's better than anyone else. You just outgrow people, which is natural.
I agree.
Right? So my parents still live in the neighborhood. I mean, we went from the apartment complex to a house down the street. Everybody thought we were big time, and we bought a house. Like, oh my God. Well, you know, it was a big deal. It was.
Yeah.
But you know, when you go back there as an adult, you're like, this is what we were raving about. But yeah, in the Black struggle, of course it was. But I see people today that I know from back in the day when I visit my mom and my parents' house, and I go to Gabby's Pizza to get that slice from Gabby's Pizza that you grew up in, right? And you see somebody like, oh, Collette, what's up? And you're like, oh man, what's going on? And you look at them and you're like, it's nice to see you. Right. It is nice to see you.
Right.
But also, you hope and wish more for them and yourself. Now, mind you, they may be just happy and fine where they are.
Where they are.
Ain't none of my business what you're doing or not doing.
That's right.
But you, as a caring human being,
Right.
you want them to like, I would love to see them like, yo, I got a house and a house here. I have a nonprofit to help kids in Africa. Or you hope for that, but you just see them doing the same stuff.
Right. That they've been
doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so
left them on the street corner and you come back and they corner you back at the street.
you know, so I want change for our kids.
Right.
So when these new kids are growing up today, the next generation is growing today, I want them to be able to see each other in 30 years or 20 years and know that they far exceeded whatever they thought their small world was. Because a lot of times in Black communities, we just see our 10-block radius.
Yeah.
There's so much world out there.
So much work.
Right? And so we need to be delivering our children exposure.
Right.
I remember when I lived in Harlem at some point, I would take some kids out to see a Broadway show and take them to have lunch. This is when I worked in corporate America. And I would take 2 kids and we'd go see a Broadway play. And we'd have lunch. And they were like, they didn't know that the napkin goes in their lap or which fork to use or tell the waiter thank you or boy. So I know that the kids that I've done that with, when they go to a restaurant, they're not going to feel intimidated, right? Because we want our kids to be powerful and confident,
Right.
right? So listen, I remember the person that took me out to my first restaurant, and I remember her to this very day. And I learned, well, it's called paying it forward, right? So my being is to pay it forward.
Yeah. I see, this is, I don't profess that I'm a prophet or anything like that. I just listen and I feel the spirit of you. I see you traveling in schools. That's not my lane, but this is what I see. I see you doing a lot of conversation in libraries, even though we have someone that's trying to close libraries. Well, that's not going to happen. I know he thinks it's going to happen, but it won't. I see you traveling with this because your heart is as a child, soft for the young person. I see that. I don't know how God's going to do it. Maybe you build your team or tell your team which way you're going to go, but I see you going inside schools and talking with a lot of young people. I live from pre-K all the way up. My granddaughter lives in LA. She would love this book.
I think that God directed me for this book because it's a younger demographic that I usually do already. So I visit schools all the time, middle schools and high schools, talk about some serious stuff, serious issues. And I usually will say to the elementary schools, nah, they won't really get my message. And I focus on the older kids. I think this was a way for God to say, you're not going to overlook them little kids either.
But that's the ones that, I'm not saying high school, junior high are not who you are supposed to be chatting with. I'm saying that what I see, my granddaughter is only 4 years old. This book, as I look at the cover, is inviting. And then when I go from one page to the next, I'm like, the notes.
Yeah, my mom always danced in the kitchen.
Always. All of this stuff is, and then your personality lights it up. You light it up.
Thank you.
So.
But I usually would not visit elementary schools as much as I visit middle school and high schools. I usually wouldn't because my message is what I think is deeper than what the kids in those grades want. Like they want to play, oh, look, there's a butterfly, and they chase the butterfly, meanwhile. But I think that this is a message that I needed to get from God to say, you're going to visit those kids in those schools too.
You are. You are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being you. With all the challenges that life brought your way. Thank you. I really, really mean this. We're going to do our best to help assist you on your journey. On your journey. Definitely. Any last words or anything that maybe we didn't cover in the interview?
No, I mean I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you, and I love your mission and what you're tackling these days. So this is important that we had a conversation together, you and I.
Thank you.
It's much needed for the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Well, young people, old people, whatever. If you don't know, now you know.